So now on to the next recipe. This one is another style of pickle, and we're serving this as kind of like a condiment to a protein, and we're using steelhead trout today. So first for the pickle, zucchini. Again, another beautiful summer ingredient that we want to hold on to. We want to use it, especially if you're growing zucchini and near the end of the season you end up with way too much zucchini and you don't know what to do with it. This is a fantastic recipe for that. So what I've done here is just thinly sliced it. I wish my knife skills were this good. I actually just use a mandolin, and you can slice them into any size you want. I want very thin slices, and so this guy here, mandolin, which is an excellent tool, fantastic tool to use, but you have to be careful with this tool. It is very sharp, and it comes with a plastic food guard for a reason, so I would suggest use that food guard. Otherwise, your fingers are going to be a lot shorter than they did coming in. So slice them very thin, just like I did there. Sorry for all the clutter.
What are you doing?
I don't know. There's just pots popping out all over the place. Okay, so zucchini in the jar. Just like that. And again, put as much as you can just until it's almost full. What I want to do is also I'm going to add a little bit of thinly sliced onion, which works really well with this. And a little bit of lemon peel as well, which you wouldn't think of doing, but it works exceptionally well. And when you pickle it, it softens up and it gives food this incredible flavor. It's not like your lemon. It's not like your regular lemon. A pickled lemon has this sort of savoriness to it, as well as that citrus.
You're all gonna get to try it at the end, so you'll go.
You can make up your own words like I just made up. And so what I'm gonna do is I just peel. This is you can use organic lemons. Wash them very well. Or these are Meyer lemons, which you can find in some grocery stores as well. They're a little bit sweeter than your normal lemon, and they're perfect. They're perfect for using for zest. Some lemons are waxed, and they're not the greatest, and so you have to either scrub them extremely well, or they don't taste as nice. So if you're going to pickle a lemon, and you're going to use a good ingredient, look for either organic or Meyer lemons. So I've just peeled it with a regular peeler. If you get some of that white pith underneath, that's okay. If it's a lot, cut it off because it tends to be a little bit bitter. But a little bit is okay.
But it is bitter.
And so I'm just going to slice them just a little bit thinner. Again, take your time, slice through them. And that is going to go. This is not as easy as it looks. That goes into the jar. So your jar is ready to go. It's ready for your brine. You can use, again, whatever brine you like. You can use the brine from the last recipe with the horseradish if you like. Or with this one here, I'm actually adding a little bit more vinegar, and I'm adding a different type of vinegar. So what I did was add white vinegar in 1-to-1 ratio with water. So depending on how much you make, 2 cups white vinegar, 2 cups water. And then I'm going to enhance that flavor a little bit because, like I said, white vinegar doesn't really taste like much. So we're going to add a little bit of rice wine vinegar. Rice wine vinegar has a really nice taste to it. You can use champagne vinegar as well. There's even sherry vinegar. There's so many different types. And we're going to add a little bit more. So about half a cup of that rice wine vinegar in addition to the white wine vinegar. And we're going to, same thing, we're going to bring it to a boil, let it simmer. And the spices here, again, whatever you like. I added a little bit of mustard seed, some dill seed, some bay leaf, and then turmeric, which is a really nice ingredient that it's common in pickling, and you don't really hear of it too much, but it gives the pickles a really nice flavor, and the brine a really nice color. So what you want to do is bring it to a boil, let it simmer 10 minutes. With this one, because I have cut them so thin, if I were to put it in steaming hot, it will cook everything and make everything a little mushy. So what I suggest is if you're doing a thin pickle, let them cool. Let the brine cool, and then I thought that was going to spill. All right. And then pour it over top. And again, same rule, about 1/2 inch of headspace from the top. Seal it. And again, this is good in the refrigerator for about 2 months. This is what it looks like. Oh, put dill in there as well, which I forgot to put. This one has dill. And you can see the color from the turmeric, and you have some of that dill in there.
We did an amazing class on spices, and turmeric is one of the ones that there's a lot of research out there looking at one of the active components in it, curcumin, which has some exciting research that it may help to reduce cancer risk. So again, we need to look at more research, randomized control trials where we're actually testing it out. But they've shown that turmeric can also be really helpful to prevent Alzheimer's. And so looking at populations in Asia, for example, people of the same age group compared to people in the US, their risk or the amount of Alzheimer's, the amount of people that get Alzheimer's is basically 1/3 that it is in the US. So they're thinking it may be a link with some of those active components within the turmeric.
All right. So now for the steelhead trout. And again, you can use this as a condiment for anything. On top of burgers, fantastic. Chicken, whatever you want. We're using a steelhead trout today. So this is steelhead trout. It looks like salmon. It looks very similar to salmon. It tastes pretty similar to salmon.
Nutritionally, same as salmon.
Same as salmon.
1 gram of omega-3 fatty acids in a little 3-ounce portion.
But a couple differences. It is more sustainable than your Atlantic salmon. It comes from Newfoundland. And, well, not all of them, but most of them that you find in the grocery store will come from Newfoundland. So it's more sustainable, and it's usually cheaper than salmon as well. This is something we never used to see too much of, and now we're starting to see more of it. So if you do see steelhead trout, try it out. It is delicious. So steelhead trout, you can cook it, any way you like. If you like it on the grill, in the oven, in a pan. In the spirit of pickling and brining things, I actually wanted to introduce a technique with fish, and you can do this with chicken as well, which is brining the protein before you cook it. We're not pickling it, which you can do, like pickled herring and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of like the pickled fish, but a quick brine on a fish will actually improve its juiciness. It'll improve the way you cook it, so it won't stick as much, especially if you're cooking it on a barbecue. And it's very, very simple to do. What we have is some cold water here, really cold water. I've actually put a couple cups of ice in it as well, just because you want to make sure that that temperature of the fish does not get into that danger zone. You want to keep it cold. So some cold water. I have a little bit, and you don't need too much, but a little bit of salt and a little bit of, you can use brown sugar, pure cane sugar, just a little bit for preservation. And what it's doing is, I'm not getting too much into the chemical process, but there's this electron shift, which is, I don't know who thinks of these things, but
somebody studied it.
Somebody studied it. And because of the salt and the sugar in this brine, there's an electron shift with the protein on your item, the fish, and it creates this kind of absorption of the brine, which keeps it super, super, super moist. And it's a common technique now with turkeys and chicken. So if you go over someone's house for Thanksgiving and they're brining their turkey, they're taking it out of a big cooler or a tub of water. And
you know what they're
doing.
To. That's their secret.
So we're going to cover it with this brine, and even for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, you're going to notice a difference. You can do this overnight. You can have it in the fridge overnight and then cook it the next day. It is going to be the most juiciest piece of fish or chicken or turkey you're ever going to have. So that's going to go in the fridge, and again, 10 minutes, that's all you really need. And I baked it. I actually put it in the oven in parchment paper. And this is a fantastic technique that we've used in quite a few of our recipes.
You don't need to use as much oil because you're not, greasing a pan, for example. And it really helps to steam it. And again, keeping a lot of that moisture intact.
So there we have our fish. I put a little bit of parsley in there as well. And we're going to get our plate. And really, really simple. Put a piece of that fish on. So I usually put like a bed of greens or parsley underneath. This aside.
And a piece like that is perfect. So you want to go for 3 ounces twice a week, and you're meeting all of your needs for omega-3 fatty acids, and that means it's going to help you to reduce your heart disease risk. There's a lot of exciting research looking at omega-3s for depression, for arthritis, because they have such an anti-inflammatory effect. So it's really important to include some fish in your diet.
And that's it. And just a little bit, and it goes a little bit, goes a long way. On top there. And again, season it. I'll hold off on the olive oil on this one. I feel the heat. And that's it. Really, really simple. And it's another quick pickle idea in a recipe.